Video. Today we're doing two NFL player props here for Thursday Night Football. We got the Rams versus the Saints. Home game for the Rams here in the Dome, SoFi Stadium. Before we get started, you guys check a link in the description below. Hop into our premium Discord. $9.30 per month. So where I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks. We also have other premium cappers in there as well. They post all their plays, research, and analysis. Overall in there, you guys, super positive community. Everyone's trying to help each other cash. I also want to mention I'm not a gambling expert, and this is not financial advice. These are simply the plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully give you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. Again, don't pressing submit on those parlays other than yourselves. But let's get right into it, you2 NFL player props here for this Thursday Night Football game. We also have a pretty nice NBA slate going on today as well. So obviously a ton of NBA player props will be in the Discord as well. But let's get right into this game. Looking at this game here, Rams are going to be 4-point favorites. Vegas projecting a good amount of points here, 46 over under. Again, you look at the kind of projections from some other games this week. It actually may be, let's see. It's actually going to be the second highest game total on the slate this week. So definitely some points projected in this game. I think going to be a ton of passing. Let's get right into this video though. So the first play here is going to be it's actually a play that's at plus money on books. It's going to be Kamara over 4.5 receptions here. I just think given this game environment, which again projected 46 points, Saints are going to be 4-point underdogs here. The Saints are going to probably be passing, right? They do like to pass. They're not like a ground and pound team, and we know Kamara just receives a ton of targets out the backfield. We look at Kamara right over an outlier, and like I said, this line is at plus money, and obviously PrizePicks you can't really playing a prop at plus money doesn't make a difference, right? This fixed payouts on PrizePicks, but we look at plus 108 on Caesars, and then actually minus 112 here down here on FanDuel. But in away games this season, he's over this line in 2 of 5, 2 misses coming at 4 receptions, and then has a game here against 3 receptions against the New England Patriots. And we just look over the course of the entire season for Kamara. He's over this line in 6 of 11 games with 3 misses coming with 4 receptions. So the floor for this play is at least 3 receptions, right? He hasn't gone less than 3 receptions all season long. But what I like about this play, and obviously like these are like underlying stats that a lot of websites won't even tell you, is that the Rams actually run zone coverage defensively. Like I think it's more than 75% of the time, and Kamara sees the number 1 target share, or gets the most targets on the Saints against zone coverage, and he's actually the most targeted running back this season against zone coverage. All right, and we look at Kamara. I think this line just a little bit skewed at 4.5. Like I think all season long, you take Kamara at 4.5 receptions, it's the chances of it hitting, at least to me, are high. Right, so we look at Kamara. He's seen 5. These last 2 weeks have been weird for him. Obviously, these games against Carolina and New England have been weird weather. In this New England game, and then Carolina was like just a super weird type of blowout game. I mean, they won 28-6, and it was just a weird type of game overall. We saw Jamal Williams and Kamara have 23 carries combined between the two of them, and Carr only took 26 pass attempts. So I definitely see Carr taking close to 35 pass attempts, and we're seeing Kamara continue, to run a ton of routes, which is what we want here. 21 routes here against Atlanta, 28 against Minnesota. He's literally ran since week 6 at least 13 routes in every game, but I think we're seeing this line at 4.5 because he's only around 17, 16, and 13 routes over these last 3, which again, like I said, have obviously been impacted by certain type of game situations and game scripts. But like for example, he ran 17 routes in this game against Detroit and saw 8 targets in that game. 17 routes, 8 targets. I think in this game against the Rams defense, who like I said runs zone 75% of the time, Kamara sees the most targets of any running back against the zone. We could see Kamara run close to 20 plus routes I think today, and you can see when he does run 20 plus routes right this season, he sees a ton of targets. Like in games when he runs 20 plus routes, 5, 7, 8, 14 and 14 targets, and then you can see like how the receptions match up with the targets. He doesn't really drop a ton of passes, like 14 targets, 13 catches, 14 targets, 12 catches, 8 targets, 7 catches, 7 targets, 7 catches, 8 targets, 6 catches. So like he's not dropping a ton of targets, and if he gets targeted, he's more than, I would say, 80% of the time catching the football. So it's a great spot for Kamara at 4.5. I think if this bumps to 5, I'm probably staying away from it, but again, given the odds currently, I don't see this line bumping to 5. We just look at other running backs recently against the Rams. We just saw Antonio Gibson catch 5 targets, 5 catches on 5 targets. We've seen out here Jerome Ford, James Conner, Michael Carter, all 3+ targets. Zach Charbonnet, 6 targets, 6 catches. Aaron Jones, 6 targets, 4 catches. So we're talking about the best receiving running back in all of football here at 5 catches tonight. Obviously, if you play it on books, it's great play, I think, at plus money. But I do like Kamara here at 4.5 receptions. This is just a play that I've been targeting all season long. When you see it at 4.5, to me, it's an auto play, just given his usage with the Saints offense. Obviously, Michael Thomas is out as well, who has the lowest 8 out of any of the wide receivers. So obviously presents a greater target share for Kamara here. Second play here is going to be Matthew Stafford. Right, I just feel like he's the safest play of all the Rams. It's going to be his over 16.5 fantasy score. The Rams have been playing really well. Stafford's been playing really well. Probably playing one of the. I would say, as of the last 4 games. This is just my opinion. We're seeing Stafford play at top 5, top 8 quarterback in the NFL type of play. You can see here over his last 4 games, 24, 22, 23, and 18 fantasy points. In that game against Washington, in the Discord, we actually had his over first half fantasy, and he sold. He was in the red zone 3 times, and they just could not convert. It's crazy. So, I mean, he left a ton of points on the board here against Washington as well. But, I mean, he had 22 fantasy against a very, very tough Cleveland team, and also had 23.6 fantasy against a very tough Baltimore team. So we're talking about 2 very elite pass defenses and just defenses that are able to get to the quarterback. He had great games against, at Baltimore in the rain, 294, 3 touchdowns. Versus Cleveland, probably one of the best top 3, top 4 defense in the NFL, 279 and 3 pass touchdowns. He literally had 2 passing touchdowns in 4 of his last 4 games here. And in this game against Washington, right, it was kind of a blowout. They didn't really need to. I mean, it got close towards the end with Jacoby Brissett coming in and scoring 2 touchdowns in the 4th. But before that, this game was pretty much over. They weren't really looking to throw the ball too much. I mean, if you take a deeper look at this game specifically, we saw, Kyren Williams ran the ball 27 times. It's just crazy how much they're running Kyren Williams. It's actually insane to me. But we look at Stafford, right? Current odds to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Again, there's a link in the description. You get a 7-day free trial of the Outlier here. 1.5 passing touchdowns. We got it at -162 on FanDuel, -157 on Caesars. So Vegas, heavy odds on the over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And we're talking about if Stafford, if he gets 2 passing touchdowns, I mean, the floor for this 16.9 fantasy, 222, 2 touchdowns is against Philly here is 16.9. So, I mean, we look at other quarterbacks versus the Saints also this season. This is a little bit skewed also as well, as far as the Saints are in a horrible division with horrible quarterback play. So the Saints, defense versus position, right, on the season, let's see, over the last 8 weeks, right, the Saints allowing the, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position. But just look at these quarterbacks that they faced: Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor, Bryce Young, Desmond Ridder. Over the last 3 weeks, these dudes aren't. I mean, I guess Jared Goff put up 16.3, but these dudes are not just the quarterback that Matt Stafford is with the offensive line now that Matt Stafford has. I mean, Matt Stafford just has so much time in the pocket, and when Matt Stafford has time in the pocket, he's throwing darts all over the field. We saw Josh Dobbs have 25.1 fantasy, 268, and a passing touchdown. Tyson Bagent had 18.8. Minshew 15.8, Trevor Lawrence 18.1. So I mean, we've seen guys. I mean, Jordan Love 25.3, 259, a passing touchdown. So we've seen quarterbacks been able to put up points. Baker Mayfield 239 had 220 and 2 passing touchdowns. 246 and 3 passing touchdowns. So again, the quarterbacks that are weak, and I'm not weak, but the not stronger quarterbacks, right? C.J. Stroud, his first game of the year, had 15.2 against the Saints defense. At home here for Matt Stafford, entire Rams offense plays much better at home. I like this play a lot at 16.5. So here are the 2 plays for this YouTube video, NFL Thursday Night Football. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about these 2 plays here. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.